Greetings to each and every single one of my kinfolk. Just so happens to be I, B.M. Woody Woo, coming at y'all today with the list, my best albums of a absolutely psychotic year. And you know, even though I did the whole dramatic lighting the match that says forget, I don't think this is the year that any of us should just act like we need to forget, because tons of lessons, and if we don't integrate, well, you know how history likes to do that old repeating itself deal. Anyways, let's jump right into it. At number 16, we have a fantastic offering from the doom metal revival masters. We got Paul Bear coming at us with Forgotten Days. Now, Paul Bear is a band that I believe has reached a point of mastery with their craft when it comes to making dope doom metal albums, songs, all of that. Because there's an effortless nature in everything they do. They're decently prolific. They're putting out EPs, singles, collab records when they're not on a main album. But this time, we get a look into more of the personal life of the artist here. This is an album about family. We have an album cover that depicts your basic nuclear family, which is what a lot of us Americans have grown up in. But as you can see from the kind of distorted, expressionistic painting, that unit is oftentimes dark, disturbing, and effed up, because we live in a country where, they done killed a lot of people who were just chilling over here and tried to just absolutely decimate them and steal everything without any repercussions. And karma, baby, karma. Anyways, we get an album that was written by two different members of the band. They basically both got their own sides of the record. And we are hit with heavy riffs, heavy soul, and heavy reflection, where we see, looking back 10 years at a mother that was passed and being hit with this sadness at everything that is lost in the hindsight. And it's something that I think is very important for the integrative process of grief, because if you don't let that stuff settle in, if you don't make right with those emotions and sometimes uncomfortably sit in them, whether it's in some sort of ceremonial setting, some sort of, you could go to a shrink too if you want, I guess. But it's something that can have lasting effects on you, and oftentimes in a negative way. And that is explored in this album. Fantastic album from Paul Bear. Give it a check out. Next, we have Fluid Existential Immersions from Intronaut. Now, Intronaut came to me at a time where I was deep into that southern sludge, baby. I was into Mastodon, Kylesa, Baroness, and they were all just freaking killing it. And then out of nowhere, I stumbled upon Intronaut. I just thought the name was really cool. I was like, good astronaut, these guys are intronauts. I fancy myself a bit of an intronaut. I'd be thinking a lot. And boy, oh boy, did I become a fast fan. They freaking rule. They're proggy, they're heavy, they got it all, man. They got it all. They write insane songs. And honestly, I kind of find myself in a situation where I'm like, what the heck? Did I really put this that low in what I liked? I guess so. But it's just because there's tons of other great things, and hey, the numerology, I don't know, the order of these records could totally shift from time to time, and honestly, I'm just here to share with you guys some dope music that I like. The numbers don't really matter, but we'll do it anyways. But Intronaut, they come at us with their most proggy, most heavy, yet seemingly most melodic album all at the same time. They just out-intronauted themselves. And we get an album that, we're exploring psychedelics, we're exploring reckless optimism, we're exploring different dimensions. It's wild. It's wild. It's honestly probably the reason why it's like so low on the list is because this is going to take a lot of listens to dive into. Look, these guys are worshippers of the prog, and what's one of the dopest things about prog? You can keep listening to that stuff for years and years and years and continue to find new, amazing things, and this is definitely one of those records. And it's been a while since they've come out with one, so I appreciate it. Fluid Existential Inversions. I feel like the song title itself kind of gives you an idea of what you're here for. Next we have, oh man, Midwest freaking math rock kings. Coming back, we got Muckle T Earth by The Fall of Troy. Muckle T Earth because they're actually is The Fall of Troy from the Midwest technically? I don't know. I think they're from like Seattle. That's not the Midwest. My bad. But they're definitely influenced by that scene for sure. But The Fall of Troy, your boys freaking, I'm not gonna say they're my guilty pleasure. I'm kind of guilty a little bit about it. But honestly, some of the greatest concerts I've ever been to have been the Fall of Troy concerts. Just a freaking bliss bath. Actually, the latest two bands were some of the last bands that I was able to see live. Went to the Decibel Music and Beer Festival and saw Intronaut. They freaking killed it. And the day before that, I went and seen Fall of Troy. And they went pretty late, so it was like my birthday when they played. It was sick. But anyways, enough about my personal stories. Let's get into this album, which is written in an incredibly interesting fashion, if you ask me. Now, the first half of the album are all songs they wrote when they were straight up 16-year-old little boys. Just like pretty much verbatim. So we're getting these lyrics shouted and screamed by a man that's like nearly in his 40s, but they're lyrics that he made when he was 16. So it's like there's this raw truth and honesty in those things, and this kind of like beautiful naivete. But then we get, honestly, my favorite half of the album, the second half, where we get these boys coming in hard and shifting up things a bit. Whereas we would usually have your boy Thomas Arak writing out and fleshing out a majority of these songs. This time, we got the homie, the drummer, coming in and pretty much providing the structure, the skeleton to all the songs, and then they just wrote around his manic thumping. And it sounds real good. The title is based off of their hometown, Mukilteo. It's Mukilteo Earth now. I don't know, sounds like an idea you'd come up with when you're doing it out of this. But the Fall of Troy, I will tell you this, they are a little bit of a polarizing band. You're either gonna like them or you're not. You're gonna love them or hate them. It's kind of one of those, and I just so happen to love them. I love freaking noodly riffs. I love the singing. I love the drums. I love the bass. I love it all. I love it all. Great album. Next up, we have something that I'm like, man, a lot of these I'm like, you never really put this low. This is crazy. But I guess I did. We have It Is What It Is by bass master himself, freaking Thundercat. So, Thundercat, he is an incredible artist, first and foremost. Yes, his bass is basically, it's got 6 strings too, so it's like, well, just play guitar. Listen to this and you'll know why. This is a really, really awesome album because you just have like a masterful artist just exploring his feelings, grief, lost, his homie, Mac Miller. I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like I'm the biggest Mac Miller fan, but I feel Thundercat's loss on this record. But since it's Thundercat, he throws in that beautiful sense of humor in it all, and we just get freaking soul, funk, insane prog, jazz. There's all of it thrown into one place where Thundercat just rules in this realm, and it's produced by freaking Flying Lotus. You get some pretty crazy features on this. We get Childish Gambino, Ty Dolla $ign, Steve Lacy, Steve Harrington, Lil B, the bass god, makes an appearance. Just so you know, Louis Cole, Pedro Martin, Zach Fox, the man himself, Kamasi Washington, Bad Bad Not Good, Miguel Atwood Ferguson, Soundwave, Mono / Polly, Dennis Ham, Ronald Bruner Jr., Brandon Coleman, and Taylor Graves. I honestly didn't know who most of those people are, I'm not gonna lie. But god dang, is this a good album. The only really unfortunate thing for me is that I accidentally left this album in my car, so it got heavily warped, but check out It Is What It Is. It's where it's at. Next up, we have an absolute absolute banger. A really just cool idea that I didn't know I wanted, but I wanted so bad. We have Shadow of Life by Umbra. And what the heck is Umbra? Well, I'm gonna tell you because it's basically one of the craziest. You know, I know a lot of artists kind of hate this term, but super group. I mean, to them, they're just like, we're friends, and we're just like, hey, I mean, I made a bunch of stuff with these guys. How about I make some with you now? One of the beautiful things and honestly necessary measures I see going forward in the heavy music scene. There needs to be this embrace of collaboration and this embrace of one's own identity aside from this entity that it becomes the band, because the fact that Jacob Bannon has done a fantastic job of pouring his soul out into so many projects. Another album came out this year, Blood from the Soul, that was also just him being like, okay, done a lot of Converge. I just want to make a crazy freaking death metal album with some of my friends. And that is what we get here. We get freaking Gunface from the Red Chord. We get John the Charm Rice from freaking Job for a Cowboy on drums. Like, you know, John Charn is insane, man. And you get on top of all of that, that beautiful mid-range freaking just Wolverine scream that Jacob Bannon has perfected over all these years. And Shadow of Life is just straight up bangers, man. Straight up bangers. If you just want to freaking headbang and or you're on like a road trip and you need to stay awake, like put this on, man. Put it in. Lyrically, it's all just dope, like self-empowerment stuff, you know? So you get pumped up, you can lift some weights and stuff, freaking bite down on the chain and bow down to effing no one. Sick album. Sick. Next up, we have freaking Enslaved, man. So Enslaved, they're basically the originators of what came to be Viking metal, but they're really just at the end of the day like straight up freaking pagan revitalists, baby. I like it. And in this album, we have them exploring the primordial ooze realm of Norse mythology in the land of Utgard. I think I said that right. I've never been to Norway, but whatever. I'd like to go one day. But here we have Enslaved, taking it to the next level, baby. So Enslaved, it's been a decent amount of albums now where they're not really just like your technical, like OG Norwegian black metal sound. And they've continued to explore, like I was talking about before, all that Norse mythology, but they keep doing it in deeper ways. Whereas they used to just kind of like explain this thing that happened and let you know about it. Now we are getting much more depth, much more clarity, and even further understanding of that Viking culture, which, you know, some crazy like Nazi dudes look to sometimes as like this empowering thing. Like, look, we white people did good things. raped, pillaged, and plundered, I guess. But actually, you're not going to really look into the history of Vikings and find Aryans. You're going to find a very multicultural. Um, I mean, I still think they're kind of crazy. Just like, all the like going places and killing people and stuff. But they were a culture that respected other cultures and sought to blend those things in a manner that old swoopy hair like crazy stash probably wouldn't have been down with. And with Utgard, we're basically getting the kind of like shadow self of Asgard, which is where like all the main pantheon of gods in Norse mythology reside. And since it is that shadow side, just psychologically, we are dealing with kind of just staring into the void, man, and being in that state of that I recognize from psychedelic experiences of that state of ego death, which is, potentially a very terrifying thing, but also a very enlightening experience. So lyrically, it's rad, man. It's rad. Like, just smoke a joint and listen to it. You're gonna have a great time. Mixed very well, if I do say so myself. Really great stuff. Really great stuff. Next up, we have a new band that I listen to. So I feel like that might be why I'm just so high on it right now. But we have Sleepless by Palm Reader. And like I said, I'd never heard of Palm Reader before, but they're just this colossal freaking, it says right here, atmospheric melodies and colossal post-hardcore coalesce on the band's potently accomplished fourth album. So, if you like just like catchiness, but like also heaviness, like this is that sick ass stuff you could potentially hear on the radio, and I think would do very well, like chart topping wise, just because of how well written and catchy the things are. But also, you get that depth. You get some really clever lyricism going on here. Palm Reader. One of the things that I love is that the lead singer he sings in is a freaking British accent. I love when British people sing in their British accents. I think it is charming. And, hey, that's where the language comes from, so might as well hear it how it's supposed to be heard, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, this one just has straight bangers, man. The first song that I heard, the first song on the album, Hold/Release, that one right there, like if you ain't gonna do nothing else, listen to that, because holy moly. This is just great sounding record. Loved it. Next up, we have... Okay. Like I said, people in the underground heavy scene, they got some learning doing there, and I think they're doing it. Because we have a collab album from record label that put out another dope collab album. I believe that was last year, with Marissa Nadler and Steve Bratsky from Caven. Now we have Emma Ruth Rundle and Thou. So it's like our sick, folky, like metal tinged, sad girls being like placed into these heavier environments where it really sounds like they're just the lead singer of a freaking sick ass like metal band, and that's not that that kind of minimizes the amazing depth that I will start to explain more now. So we have May Our Chambers Be Full. We have Mammoth, Rumble, and Thou. So this came about, I'm being told, from the main organizer of a music festival that, oh my goodness, I have not been to yet, but it's like, I gotta be there because Roadburn is the artistic metal mecca at this point, and the main dude is like, yo, Em, you and Thou, I want you guys to just like do a set. So they're like, okay, we have this deadline now, so let's get together and start making something. And this is what they made. And it's beautiful. It's beautiful. Supposedly making it was at times frustrating because it's like bringing in all these heads, and they're like, no, we gotta like make this a band. It's not just gonna be me being like, okay, this is what I want, you guys do it. No, we gotta collaborate. And holy crap, just the push and pull dynamics from these two distinct voices on this record. Ooh, I love it. Sounds so good. It sounds so good. And you know, Emma Ruth Rundle, she is your girl if you want some like crazy introspective, like mental illness music. Oh my goodness, and her voice is just so incredible. Like, she reminds me in so many ways the kind of like expressionistic way that she uses her voice. The lead singer of the freaking Cranberries, R.I.P. Yeah, I freaking love this. I can't believe the last thing I'm gonna say is that Emma Ruth Rundle reminds me of Cranberries, but that's what I'm gonna say, and that is not a bad thing to say at all, not at all. And this is not a bad album at all. Holy moly! Okay, first of all, pretty much my favorite painter in the game right now was commissioned for this album cover. We have this insane piece by Martin Whitfield. Holy guacamole! So, what is this a painting of? It's basically a painting of America. Now, I am going to preface this this little explanation I have on this album by saying that I was a little bit annoyed. I love this album, but this is the thing that, you know, and I'm sure there's nothing really to this annoyance at all, but I just have to air some grievances. Protest the Hero. This is palimpsest. Pretty sure I pronounced that correctly. I totally looked up the word because I did not know what it meant. Protest the Hero. But this is an album that in a lot of ways tears America a new beehole because we deserve it. But y'all Canadian. Y'all North American too. Canada has so many of the same problems that America does. A lot of people just act like Canada is this nice, like really polite place, and yes, that is true as well, but also they be killing Native American women at a freaking alarming rate. It is a problem. It is a problem. So, you know, just so Canada knows, I ain't freaking fooled. But oh my goodness, anyways, let's go into the amazingness of this album now. Holy crap, look at this though. Look at this. Martin Whitfield, just pretty much the best in the game. But this album cover does a fantastic job of actually summing up what the record is about. Like, it just talks about how history written by the winners, you know, because morally, you guys might be winning and making money, but look where your family members are now. Look where the country is. Y'all are all addicted and wanting to die. Anyways, this album, let's freaking spark up again, huh? Let's freaking spark up again, huh? Yeah. This album explores the perspective of a lot of what has gone on here in good old US of A. It's warped. There's so much psychotic evil underneath so many of these stories of triumph. We get banger songs about Amelia Earhart, freaking John Dillinger, and look, I will say this. I think that you should definitely listen to this album and read along with the genius profile on the album, because it digs in deep and gives you so much more of a historical perspective on all these things, and I do think it is of the utmost importance to look into history as much as we can, so that the really veneery, beautiful way of representing it gets scraped away, because the truth needs to be revealed. Anyways, on this album, we get a performance from the main singer, Rhodey Walker. He is pretty much the reason why this band is so freaking similar to the Fall of Troy. They're really, really polarizing. You either love them or you hate them, and I love them. And we get Rhodey Walker after having a scare with his voice. Always kind of like. I don't like when that happens, but it's always a really dope experience when an artist has some sort of injury or some sort of scare that makes them think like, oh man, I'm not going to be able to do this thing that I love anymore. And then they're able to do it again, and they just come back with so much more expertise and appreciation for their instrument and their ability to express themselves. And on this album, we get pretty much like one of the sickest songs about the Black Hills I've ever heard. And if you don't know about the Black Hills, that's where they carved those freaking stupid faces of those psychotic presidents into a sacred mountain of the Lakota people. And there's a song about it on here, and it's a banger. Oh my goodness. There's a banger song about building the freaking railroad system. Like, holy crap. This album is just full of some sick songs. We also get one about this lady that jumped off the freaking Hollywood H sign and committed suicide, because, that story is just so representational of so many things. And let's look at the art again. Let's look at that art again. We got the freaking bull just running and rumbling recklessly with carrying the flag. We got freaking dogs with their ears snapped. We got psychotic freaking monkeys, pigeons. We got the freaking Zeppelin right there crashing. There's a song about that, and it's all like, oh my god, everybody was all like, that big Zeppelin crash. I can't remember the name of it right now, but it was actually like made by Nazis, and people forget that. Anyways, moving on to the next one. I'm getting much more stoned, so we're gonna see how this keeps going. Next we have An absolutely insane album by another new band that I stumbled upon. We have Black Line by Respire. And holy crap. This is like orchestral hardcore music? Question mark? I'm not gonna sit here and necessarily try and put a subgenre on this. I'm just gonna kind of try and explain what goes on because it is crazy this album. So, imagine like hardcore kids who just grew up freaking loving like I don't know, like Cradle of Filth and Dimmu Borgir maybe, and then they just like found some homies that could play like play strings and Jesus. This album is crazy. I've never heard anything like it. I really feel like you just have to listen to it, to be honest. You have to listen to it. But it's really, really influenced by all those crazy wildfires that were going on in the past few years. And man, yeah, Incendiary album sounds like really nothing else I've ever heard of. And I think for some people that's just gonna like totally turn them off and you're not gonna like this at all. But I was crazy into it. My goodness. Insane album. Next up we have, speaking of hardcore, we have the artist formerly known as Code Orange Kids. They ain't kids no more. Code Orange coming at us with the Underneath, the soundtrack to the mother effing apocalypse. So, Code Orange. Who are they? They are the freaking saviors of heavy music, okay? They're gonna come in and okay, maybe I'm putting too much pressure on them. But anyways, I freaking love Code Orange, okay? They do like songs for WWE. They have some of the craziest live shows ever. They even put on, in my opinion, the best like streamed event of the year. That last one they did was freaking crazy. It was cool. They rolled with the punches. And they keep developing into something that just makes me feel freaking proud. You know what Code Orange makes me feel? They make me feel like when my favorite freaking indie wrestler makes it to the big leagues and like wins a big title and stuff. But you know, with Code Orange, thankfully, the booking's not going to just kind of discredit all that and then make them look like a freaking jabroni again. Nuh-uh, Code Orange ain't gonna look like no jabrones. So on this record, we have them going like dang near full Slipknot and just being like, what, we just gonna be a gang on stage now? We got all types of stuff going on. So you just get this like, this is kind of like their Iowa almost, where you expect them to like go more towards the grungy like singles that they were making their name off of, but then they just like, oh man, we'll give you some of that, but also this is just gonna be dark, heavy, and nuts. Yeah, Code Orange. Goodness gracious. This is just such an awesome album. I love how they just look like pro wrestlers now, kind of. Like, you know. Oh man, I freaking love Code Orange. So sick. They're pushing the scene, man. They're pushing it forward, and I love it. I support them. Such a well-produced album too, my goodness. Sounds so good. Next up, we have something that just helped me so much get through the year. I ain't even gonna lie. We got Technicolor by freaking Covet. Just look at that beautiful album cover. This is one of the things you'll probably definitely realize this about me by now. If you're a band and one of the band members is also a fantastic visual artist that makes up a lot of your art, I'm into you even more. Because like I'm really big into art. I do it myself. It's like my craft. But I'm not like necessarily the dude who'll go to like galleries and stuff all the time. It's like I should because I love it, but I don't. So my way of being a patron of the visual arts is like a freaking album cover artist and stuff. Like if you make sick album covers, I'm probably gonna buy that album from that band if I like them, and hopefully you get like a little bit of a kickback on that too. Maybe I'll buy some shirts and some merch, who knows? But that's what I do. And Yvette Young, I'm gonna say she's kind of the main creative force of this band. She is a fantastic visual artist, just a fantastic artist in general. She is kind of has like that stereotypical story of being like a child of Chinese parents. Like no, they're legitimately Chinese. Getting that right. Don't be like what? Anyways, tiger parents who are like, hey, you better be the freaking best at these instruments, or you gonna get punished. Some of that punishment seems like it was, probably a bit on the abusive side, based on some things that have been possibly suggested. But Yvette Young is coming into the game with this kind of new thing that's happening in music that at first made me feel a little bit uncomfortable, but now I'm starting to recognize as totally fine and dope, and I was just fearing change. She's like an influencer kind of, social media influencer type. Got a lot of followers on the Instagram, a lot more followers than most of these bands, even though like some of the bands themselves technically like make more money, but it's like, Yvette Young has more eyes and attention on her than a lot of this, like individually, even more so than her band, because she's really artistic, dope personality, and she uses social media in a way that I feel is something that I could kind of be like, okay, this is pretty good, because it's just expressing like and sharing joy for music, trying to push forward the guitar so that that music scene can continue to thrive. Now, is that exactly what's going on with guitar music in the realm of like it being this new social media type thing, where we have people who aren't even technically in bands, or even technically sometimes strictly even making like music, their own music? Sometimes they're just like doing covers and stuff. I don't know, but it's this new weird like internet world that I'm not completely on board with, but I also see how it's gonna benefit and move the scene forward, because a lot of what the scene was about and what sustained the scene is like just, it's dying. Let's be honest, it's not gonna be here forever. It's out of date. But Yvette Young, she comes in, kills the game, writes music that is just so awesome, because she does it in a way of like a visual artist would. It's like she's taking all these crazy tunings and using them as paint palettes to just be emotive, expressive, and doesn't really care about, like, you know, some of the more technical bits of like counting rhythms and stuff. She's kind of like, I'm just gonna freaking make this and then go to my rhythm section and be like, I hope you guys are able to write something around this that's gonna make it work, because I made it pretty crazy. So, you know, I love it though. I love it. And there's even some singing on this. Really good. Just a fantastic album. It'll lighten you. It definitely will, and it'll make you appreciate, because music from a freaking like masterful musician who played like piano and violin, but then got like burnt out on it, started to hate music, and then found guitar and took that virtuosity that she had and reclaimed her love for music. So there we go. Solid album. We're dwindling down. I believe we're on the final 4 now. Oh, here we go. Now we have one of my favorite bands in just the freaking underground heavy scene. We have grindcore masters. Fuck the facts. I've been trying not to cuss so much, but hey, I had to do it for them. Yeah, fuck the facts with Ben Noiseux. I think I said that right. It means absolute darkness. And guess what? They're not misadvertising you. This is heavy. It's Fuck the Facts taking their sound and developing it in this continual pattern that I just love to listen to. It is mixed insanely well. It is just, oh my goodness, it's so good. It's dark. Oh. There's always that glimmer of hope in their music. Like, it's not just complete Bummerville, but holy moly. The star of the show here for me is Mademoiselle Jean. Holy crap, she's pretty much like my favorite vocalist in heavy music. I'm not even gonna lie. She nobody sounds like her, and she is even like kind of upset with her physical limits, because she's like, I want to push this even further and even more emotive and even crazier, but my body can't do it. So, you know, maybe she should start trying to play around with vocal effects and stuff. I don't know, maybe that could be something she could do in the future. But I like the fact that this band is just raw, gritty, and dark and insane. Like, oh my goodness. So it was started out as a solo project from, let's see if I could find homie's name. I always feel bad when I don't credit everybody. Topen Das. He is the visionary creatively of this band, and it started off as his little solo project way back in freaking 1998. Yes, they've been out here making crazy grindcore since the freaking late 90s, just straight up underground. And I love it, man. I love it. I love stuff like that. Some people might be like, well, that's dumb. Why don't you make music and like try to make money off of it? Hey man, sometimes you just want to close off the world a little bit, make it insular, and like only invite people in who you know are going to be down. And holy moly, I am down. I am so down with this album. I freaking love it. It's been a while since we've heard anything from Fuck the Facts, so every time they give us something, I'm just so happy. So that's one of the reasons why it's so dang high up here too. A lot of replayability for me. Here we go. Next up, I'm not going to talk about it too much because I already did a video on it. We have Child Soldier, Creator of God, from Greg Pachado. The man himself, he steps out. Like I said before, heavy music's answer to Prince. So good. So good. So good. I freaking love it. I freaking love it. And go check out his live stream that he just did. It was really cool. It's called Butt Content. That's what I'm putting on to you right now. Whatever. Next up, we have Holy Moly. Oh man, I'm maybe gonna look like a poser too by putting this up here because it's not like I'm this huge lifelong fan. Like 9 years, it's not that long, but whatever. Go to a bandwagon jumper, I don't care. Fetch the effing bolt cutters, yo. Fiona Apple. Yes. Crazy white girl. Freaking love her music though. Huge Fiona Apple fan. I didn't jump on board until her last album. Oh crap, I don't even know. I'm stoned, guys. The Idler Wheel or whatever it was called. Woo, that thing was a banger. Fiona Apple writes insane music, people. Okay, she completely subverts common pop music conventions, and she still is able to make like, I don't know, kind of pop type music. But this one's insane. It's like, it's legitimately like a creative artistic genius, just like banging on pots and pans with her friends, like a psycho like cult leader. So when you look into the details of how this album was made, it's very, very this is the type of life that I want to live. I'm not even gonna lie. In some ways, she just like made it in different parts. Like most of it was in her house, and she's like, my house is the microphone, one of the main instruments on this album, because she's just like, hey, I've kind of closed myself off to the world in a lot of ways. I'm just an artist. I'm kind of retarded in a lot of ways. Like I don't know much about anything, which thankfully she recognized and has done some efforts to help out with ceding sovereignty, an indigenous initiative, and she's educating herself on you know, land acknowledgement and all that. And it's like, you know, if you want to save your soul, you need to recognize, especially if you're in the Americas or pretty much anywhere where there's just these atrocities that were waged upon the people who just like to live with the earth. You know, that's what you need to do. So good on you, Fiona. Good on you for doing that. But oh my goodness, let's talk about this album more. It's crazy. So she's just like going to all these different places, getting her band together, doing like a bunch of mushrooms, watching TV, just like making it all on GarageBand. Fiona Apple doesn't know how to use GarageBand, so she, like a bunch of the takes just like are completely unedited, just thrown in here. It's crazy. Like I could totally see how some people would be like, why do you think this is good? This is stupid. I don't think so. It's crazy, and it digs in deep, and it's also like her funniest freaking album so far. I love it. Fetch the Bolt Cutters. Crazy album. You know, like Fiona Apple, she is to me like the. And hear me out. I'm gonna try to make this not sound racially insensitive or something. I don't know. She's like the white version of Erykah Badu, and I mean that. In that, like, she has that same similar kind of like just creative divinity within, but she's a white girl. So it comes out in this like really kind of like disjointed way where it's like, you know, there is a lot of interesting psychological things that go on with white femininity, but I'm not really here to talk about all that. I don't feel equipped to. I said what I said though. I love this album though. Freaking love this album. It's so good. It's so good. Check it out and listen to it in its entirety. It's insane. Last but certainly not least, we have, oh my goodness, the one that freaking was saving me throughout the year. We got Lament from Touche Amore. Holy crap. Holy crap. Let's do this again. How cool is this freaking Matchbox stuff? So cool. There we go. See that? It says Lament on it. I don't know if you can see that. That's what it said. That's the name of the album. This is cool what I'm doing right now. Yeah, you see what I did at the beginning of the video? I did like the lit the match that said forget, because you know 2020 sucked, let's forget it. Woo! I'm blasted, guys. Thank goodness this is the last album. We have the culmination, in my opinion, of just a fantastic artistic journey. We have Lament from Touche Amore. Holy moly. Let's just talk about the... Okay, so I did a video reviewing this, but a big chunk of the audio like got messed up and just didn't end up putting it out. So I feel like I said all this already, and I'm not gonna really beat you with a dead horse either, because I don't wanna. What I want to do is just express to you how much this album just like reverberated with me. It hit me. The main vocalist and lyricist, Jeremy, oh man, he's just so good. He's so good. The first time I heard of Touche Amore is back in like 2013 with Is Survived By. And it was really good. I liked it, but it just didn't like stick to me for some reason. And then when their last album came out, I didn't really pay that much attention to it either, but I saw it getting all this press and this praise. And then I listened to it finally after hearing the first single that I heard from this album, which was Limelight. Oh man, that's my jam this year, baby, Limelight. Anyways, after hearing Limelight, I went back and listened to Stage 4, and holy crap. Whoo, gotta be. And my grandmammy passed away from cancer, so I was just like, ooh. I'm now part of the Pain Brigade. As Jeremy so eloquently put it, when it comes to like, yeah, we're connected because we got people that died from cancer, but goodness gracious, I understand why that would be a very exhausting way of interacting with your fan base, because, yeah. That is a reference to the song I'll Be Your Host. Man, so many good albums. Like, my battery is going to die soon, so I'm not gonna it's my number one. I'll just kind of tell you enough. I really love this. It helped me a lot. It healed me. It was a point of, you know, found a lot of solace in this album, and I'm going through a lot of things that are talked about here. I'm sure you are too, so you should give it a listen. Honorable mentions and stuff that I just wasn't able to pick up on vinyl. I really freaking love that. Probably would have been on the list too. Maybe even taking some of these off. The new Ulcerate. That was insane. I also really loved that Zeal and Ardor EP called Wicked Nation. Just powerful and stuff. Topical. I even like that crazy freaking new like doom-saying album from Busta Rhymes. That was sick. I really liked that freaking Freddie Gibbs album that he just put out with Mad Lib. God dang, that was really good. Freaking liked Rico Nasty, really good. Oh, I discovered Res Coast Grizz this year. I freaking love Res Coast Grizz now. Freaking a lot of really good bangers out there. I was addicted to Spirit Box on Spotify. I freaking love Spirit Box. Antheos' new slapper. It was a slapper, really good. A lot of good stuff came out this year. Listen to a lot of Janae Aiko. Really good. Listen to a lot of what else? I don't know. I'm too stoned. Bye. 2020 over. 2021 we here. Probably going to be more of the same though. Dumpster fire. But guess what? Even if it is a dumpster fire, you can become flame retardant. Look inside yourself. The creator is there, baby. Everywhere. Woo-wee! Tune into the earth, homie.